Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Chapter 4 Deluxe Class Terrorsaur, arguably the most exciting figure to come out of this particular wave, and to be completely honest I have no idea as to why he's packaged in an incredibly elusive subline. Terrorsaur is in fact one of the most high level Predacons, so why he's seen such a limited release is completely beyond me, and it's not like Hasbro haven't put the effort in. This guy is in fact incredibly, intensively retooled when in comparison to Airazor, so it really does beg the question as to why he wasn't thrown in the main line. But we'll waste no time at all and of course take a very quick look at the packaging. Of course, fantastic for these figures. I really do think it looks awesome. Of course, we've got part of the Golden Disc there. We've got Golden Disc Collection Terrorsaur. As we spin our attention here to the back of the box, some fantastic product shots there of Terrorsaur in robot mode as well as in the pterodactyl mode. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see whether or not he is in fact worth the hype. And so, here we have Terrorsaur cracked open and out of the packaging, and for a line of which has primarily consisted of very minor retools slash repaints, Terrorsaur here is actually excellent and is without a doubt where all of the hype is with this particular lineup. Now, before we delve into the figure, we'll very quickly go through the accessories. For a line of which is called the Golden Disc Collection, Terrorsaur is in fact the only figure of which actually comes with the Golden Disc. You can see the sculpt work on that looks really nicely done. I do believe this is the exact same version that we saw packaged with the Titan class arc, so of course, we've got the Sounds of Earth. As we just flip here to this side, you can see some really nice sculpted and detailing, completely picked out there in a metallic gold. We also do get included his blaster, of which two's been sculpted and painted very, very nicely. And in regards to actually storing it here for the pterodactyl mode, you can peg it here onto the underside of the wing, so that just snaps into place rather well, or you can in fact actually store it here on the side of Terrorsaur's hip, which once again doesn't look too bad at all. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that he also comes with a pair of arm blades. Now, truth be told, I did in fact actually completely forget these and threw them in the trash first time round, as Hasbro don't mention anything about him actually including these on the box, and they are merely just strapped to the back of the packaging in what appears to be almost tissue. So in my opinion, that's really unprofessional, and in all honesty, I have no idea as to why they didn't come pre-installed, as they don't have to be removed or swiveled around for transformation at all, so definitely be wary of that when in fact actually cracking him open. But with the accessories off to the side, here we have Terrorsaur in the pterodactyl mode. Now, you may be able to see vaguely that this guy is in fact an extensive retool of the deluxe class Airazor, a figure of which I actually think was a fantastic beast figure, and you can see Terrorsaur, in my opinion, is no exception. This guy's actually turned out a lot better than I was expecting. You can see here from a back perspective, we've got some fantastic sculpt work going on for the actual wings. You can see the claws there sculpted very nicely. We do in fact get some nice black detailing here at the top. You can once more see some nice sculpt work towards the tail region. As we flip here to the front, you can see a very, very nicely sculpted as well as painted head. I think that's turned out super, super nicely, especially where that eye detailing is concerned. And of course, considering this guy transforms, there is a bit of robot mode undercarriage, but to be fair, definitely not too bad. I did think that Airazor was one of the best beast figures that we'd seen so far, so it would stand to reason that they would use her as the basis for this particular figure. Now, in regards to articulation, he does in fact actually have an opening and closing mouth, of which reveals some super nice tongue detailing, as well as some very nicely sculpted teeth. We can in fact actually rotate the head here left to right, as well as hinge this section up and down. Due to transformation, the neck too is on its own independent hinge joint, so you can definitely rise and lower that to your own personal preference. Here for the wings, these are articulated here at this hinge joint, as well as here at this hinge joint, although are in fact a lot stiffer when in comparison to Airazor, and they can also articulate here, albeit for pterodactyl mode they are actually supposed to stay tabbed into this region. And finally, if you really wanted to, you could actually hinge the tail up, although that is mainly due to transformation, and of course you get the full range of motion here at the ball joints for the feet. So overall, in terms of beast mode, I actually think this guy is a very, very nicely done figure. For an extensive retool, I think he's turned out a lot better than I was expecting, and in all honesty, I thought this guy was going to be rather lazy, but nope, he looks really, really awesome. So without further ado, let's bring in some very quick comparisons, and then of course we'll turn to transformation. So first up, here we have Terrorsaur compared next to Airazor, and you may be able to see vaguely some of the pieces of which are familiar, such as the placement here of the arms. As we just flip here to the underside, it really is only the legs, of which are a dead giveaway. You can see where the mushroom peg actually attaches to the torso is incredibly similar, but of course, as we spin our attention here to the back, you can see that literally the entire skeleton of this guy has been completely retooled, of course, to match his actual pterodactyl alt form, of which I think is fantastic. He really merely only borrows the engineering from Airazor, which I definitely think was a step in the right direction. So really, really cool use here of the actual transformation. Of course, we'll bring a few of the other Predacons out. Here we have Terrorsaur compared next to Scorponok, just so you can see how these two guys fare next to each other. Here he is next to Waspinator, Black Arachnia, and of course Megatron. Predacons, Terrorize, and of course finally wrapping up comparisons, here we have that Predacon group shot, and you can see they all look great with each other. I believe it's just Tarantulas and Inferno that we have yet to go, and then we've pretty much got the solid team of Predacons from Beast Wars, but so far all looking excellent, and I really do think it's great that we've finally in fact actually gotten a proper updated Terrorsaur. So, turning to transformation, Terrorsaur surprisingly comes packaged in Pterodactyl mode, so that's where we'll start off with.
Terrorsaur, terrorize!
To begin with, you're in fact going to want to come here to the underside, take these legs and just disengage those, wriggle this section down, and of course come to this side and repeat the same process, hinge out the knee and click the shin into place, come to this side and repeat the same process. We can then rotate the foot so that the front is now of course facing the back. You'll then want to spin your attention here to the rear section. In fact, take this tail piece, lift this up, which will then allow clearance for us to rotate this piece here all the way around. And then we can now take the shins and rotate here just above where the knee is. We can then come here to the arms, disengage those, click the wrists into place, come to this side, and of course repeat the same process. Come to the pterodactyl head, just close the jaw, rotate this section around, and in fact actually bring this section out, as what we're now going to do is take this torso piece and in fact actually pull this section forwards. That will then allow us to rise Terrorsaur's robot mode head up, and very similarly to Airazor, this is in fact held in via two drop down hinges, so you are essentially just going to want to take those, hinge those pieces down, and you can see we've got a massive tab that will in fact peg into a slot on the underside of this chest piece. So just snap that in there, click that section into place. We can then take this neck piece, pull this section down, and then just collapse that there like so. And then for some finishing touches here for the wings, you can see that we've got these tabs that will peg here into those slots, so just hinge this section up and shoot that in there. We can then hinge this section, collapse that wing in, and of course come to this side, repeat the same process, hinge that section down. And with all that being said, here we have the Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Terrorsaur fully transformed up into what is, in my opinion, a very, very nicely done robot mode. Once more, for an extensive retool, this guy's actually turned out great, and I actually think he's a really awesome figure. Homing in on the details and bringing Terrorsaur in here for a closer look, you can see in regards to sculpt work, once more, looking really, really well done. I love how they've given him a smirk, brings tons of character to this figure, and you can see the sculpt work actually isn't too bad at all, especially here from a side perspective. You can see there's some nice paint going on for the faceplate, as well as there for the eyes, and for the torso, this is massively retooled when in comparison to Airazor, literally completely brand new. So you can see there's some nice mechanical components picked out in a lovely silver. Of course, we've got those black dots here for the center section. I think the sculpt looks wicked, even for the shoulders, these two are completely brand new. It is merely just from where the elbows downwards are concerned, of which are a reuse from Airazor, but this time cast out of red as well as painted in silver, not looking too bad at all. Of course, we've got the Predacon logo, we've got those arm spikes attached onto the sides, which I think look really nice. Here for the lower skirt region, you can see once more a complete brand new sculpt, as so are the thighs, so we've got some really nice detailing going on for these, and it is merely just from the knee down to where the foot is, that is once again a carryover from Airazor, but I think painted very, very nicely, as well as sculpted, and of course we've now got complete brand new feet for this guy, which really does make him look all the better. Now as we spin our attention to the back, of course a little kibbly, but in all honesty, I actually don't think it looks too bad. I think he compacts pretty nicely, especially for a deluxe class, and some of this is in fact actually accurate to how his character model appeared in the original Beast Wars series. Now getting down to articulation, here for the head, we do get a ball joint which can look left to right as well as tilt up and down ever so slightly. Of course, we get full range of motion here at the shoulders, hinge joint there out to the side, full rotation at the bicep, 90-degree bend there at the elbow. We do surprisingly get a waist joint, mainly due to transformation, which sadly can't hinge to the greatest degree due to the back kibble. Once more, not too bad at all. The legs can kick forwards that far, as well as can kick back to, I'd say, about that far. Of course, you can do the splits to a terrific degree. Full rotation there at the thigh, as well as a way past 90-degree bend, only on a single hinge joint at the knee due to transformation. And finally, the foot is, of course, on a ball joint. Although, if I had to be critical, I would say I wish this was maybe on a hinge, as these are very, very loose. And considering there is quite a lot of kibble actually packed away here on the back, it really doesn't take much to sadly actually knock this guy over. But overall, in terms of paint, colorization, as well as just the overall look of this guy, I think he's turned out really, really nicely. Definitely a fantastic figure and a great repurpose of the engineering from Airazor. Now, in regards to some of those accessories, of course, you can bring in the blaster, port that there into the hand, and I think he looks wicked. You can have him firing away at the Maximals, looking fantastic. Of course, you can store it away here on the hip, but that just about wraps up Pterosaur here for bot mode. Let's bring out some of those bot mode comparisons, and then of course we'll wrap up the review. So first up, of course, we've got Airazor compared next to Pterosaur, his engineering buddy, and you can see straight off the bat they look drastically different. They really did extensively retool this guy. It isn't until you actually bring these guys in for a closer inspection of when the actual parts become vaguely familiar. So of course the forearms are completely the same, as so are the lower shins, but pretty much everything else is 100% brand new. As we spin our attention here to the back, you can see that I do find the kibble management to maybe be a little better here for Airazor, but honestly, once more, not looking too bad here for Pterosaur at all. So two very nicely done figures, especially for that deluxe class scale point. Here we have him alongside Black Arachnia, Scorponok, Waspinator, Beast Megatron, and of course one final comparison shot with the entire Predacon team up that we've seen so far. Looking fantastic, and in all honesty, I think out of all of the Predacon Deluxe figures, this guy is by far the best. It is just truly a shame that he is in fact an exclusive and not a part of the main line. And so, some final thoughts for this Transformers Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Chapter 4 Deluxe Class Pterosaur. In all, I think this is a great figure. Out of the entire wave, this is by far the star. This is in fact a really well done release, especially considering that he was originally an Airazor figure. This guy's been extensively retooled in order to match the Pterosaur character model, and I really do think the team over at Takara and Hasbro have done a fantastic job. He's undeniably the best Deluxe Predacon that I think we've seen from this lineup so far, and in all honesty, I just cannot wait to see how the likes of Tarantulas and even that rumoured upcoming Inferno turn out to be, as if they're half as good as this guy, then we're definitely in for a treat. I think in regards to the Pterodactyl mode, for the most part, really well done. Of course, it has some compromises made, seeing as it was using Airazor as the basis, so we still have some of that robot mode undercarriage, but in my personal opinion, that's inevitable, especially with these types of characters. I think that in regards to the articulation of Beast mode, it's really nicely done, and the detail is definitely where he excels. I think he's got a really nice variety of paint going on for the eyes. I really like the skin texture detail. The transformation isn't too difficult neither, and he does also come with a pretty decent range of accessories, those being those two arm spikes, blaster, as well as the golden disc. And then when we get down to robot mode, in all honesty, I think he looks fantastic. The red plastic just pops. The silver accents that we've got look really nicely done. The head sculpt is awesome, and the articulation once more isn't too bad at all, although I would be a little cautious of leaving those arm spikes attached to the back of the packaging, so just make sure that you actually remove them, as of course you don't want them to originally end up like mine in the trash. And I would definitely also be cautious of in fact actually displaying him, as you do not want him toppling over, seeing as those ankle joints are on the little looser side. But in all, if you can track him down, then I would definitely recommend him. I'd actually say jump on it sooner rather than later, as seeing he's an Amazon exclusive, he'll no doubt absolutely sell out almost immediately, and then of course go for astronomical prices on the aftermarket. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this review. I'd love to know your thoughts on both the figure and the video down in the comment section below, and as always, I thank you all so much for watching. Until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.